Alright, shoutouts to Knoxville for this video. I wasn't going to do any build videos or anything like that, but Knoxville requested that I show my build, and honestly, the only character I feel like I have maybe a better build than other people online is my Verso build, so I wanted to show that off. Starting with Javelin, which is Verso's best weapon here. So you can see my level is 32, it's not even maxed out yet. If you know where to find the item to max this bad boy out, please let me know in the comments. But for power, we got 5,578. There's no element, which is nice because you can set your elements with your abilities. You don't have to accidentally end up healing a monster or something like that. The multipliers, as you can see, are agility and luck. The level 4 ability is you start battle at rank S but can't be healed or gain shields. This entire build is based around not being able to heal anyways, so this isn't going to be a detriment to us at all. The level 10 ability is 20% increased damage for each consecutive turn without taking damage, can stack up to 5 times. So if you do end up getting a little bit deeper into the battle, you're going to be doing more and more damage. That's 100% more damage on the 5th turn if you haven't taken any damage. And then, of course, you got Apply Rush on rank S, so you get Rush immediately when the battle starts. Now let's take a look at my skills loadout. So I've got Blitz here, deals low single target, physical damage, 1 hit, plays a second time, kills non-boss enemies with less than 10% health. This one is just nice if I need an extra turn at low cost. I don't use it too often, but it is there if I need it. Paradigm Shift, this has a cost of 1, deals low physical single target damage and gives 1 to 3 AP back. It lands 3 hits. So this is another one, if I end up in trouble where I don't have enough AP, it's a low cost of 1 and you get a ton of AP back. If you end up screwing up big time, you end up back at C rank, you get an extra AP to boot. Endbringer, so this one is my single target nuke. Basically, it deals extreme single target physical damage, 6 hits, increased damage if the target is stunned, and if you end up screwing up and back at A rank, it can reapply that stun. Phantom Stars, this is the main one that I use. Deals extreme light damage to all enemies, 5 hits, can break, and since we're going to be S rank, this will actually only cost 5 AP instead of 9. This is my group clearing ability. It is incredibly powerful, especially with its light damage. The only time you run into trouble with this is if somebody's like super high defensive against light damage, in which case I'll just pick them off individually with Endbringer. Or what I can do is use follow-up. So follow-up deals medium single target light damage. It's only 1 hit, which sounds lame, but the damage is increased for each free aim shot this turn up to 10 times. And then at S rank, it only costs 2 AP. So at the start of battle, you guys will see that I start with a crapload of AP, anywhere from like 8 to 9 AP. If you've got some enemies that I might be able to take out with some free aim shots, that's going to give me more AP to keep counting down all the way till I get down to 2 AP. So you can stack this up to 10 times and then use follow-up for a low cost of 2 AP and do extreme amounts of damage. And then, of course, Defiant Strike deals single target physical damage that applies mark, 2 hits, cost of 30% of current health, and if you screw up, you end up back at B rank, it'll do increased damage. So this one I only use if I'm needing to set up mark for another character to do a ton of damage, like Mael or something like that. Really good, I guess, if I'm dealing with one strong enemy that I need Mael to finish off for me because of that mark application. So let's take a look at my Pictos. So I've got Confident Fighter as my Pictos, 30% increased damage but can't be healed. And then I've got Full Strength, which is 25% increased damage on full health. And Quick Break, play again on breaking a target. So these 3 are all really good Pictos, but the main reason I have these equipped instead of just as Luminas is in their critical rate increase. So my crit rate, as you can see if you look kind of in the top right corner-ish there, is 93%. You really want a high crit rate for any of your builds, so you're hitting those glorious gold numbers. Full Strength and Confident Fighter are also kind of higher cost Luminas, so I wanted them as my Pictos. If you don't have the extra Luminas to use, you could definitely swap out Full Strength for Cheater, which is a Pictos and Lumina that I'm going to show you later that is incredibly overpowered, but it costs 40 Luminas. And at the tail end of this video, I'm going to show you how to get some of the best Pictos so that you can equip them as Luminas. And these are the ones that are really, really essential to dealing a crap load of damage. But let's take a look at the Luminas that I have equipped. I've got it sorted to my favorites here, so you can kind of take what you like from this, but I'm going to focus mostly on the ones that are essential to this build. So a lot of the ones you want at least Energizing Start 1 and 2 so that you have enough AP to pull off some of the stronger attacks right at the start of battle. But the big key ones that you want here, the first one I want to mention is Cheater. So Cheater allows you to play twice in a row. It has a high cost, so you might want to swap out full strength as your Pictos for Cheater. It's up to you. As you can see, the cost here is 40, which is really, really high. Painted Power, you need to be in Act 3 in order to have this. You get it for defeating the boss of Act 2. It's a story Pictos. You can't miss it if you're in Act 3. Absolutely necessary for any build ever in the 3rd act. I like to have Auto Shell. It doesn't deal any damage, but it adds a status effect, which will be important very soon. And then, of course, you can get Powerful on Shell, which applies Powerful if you have Shell. So it just stacks another buff on you. And then I have Longer Powerful on here, just in case the battle goes a bit long. It normally doesn't because, like I said, my Verso is pretty powerful, especially when attacking groups, but also while dealing single target damage. I have Energizing Start 1 and 2 on here, so I have enough AP to pull off my bigger moves early. And Dead Energy is nice because you get more Pictos every time you eliminate one of the enemies. But the main heavy hitters we want is, of course, Inverted Affinity. So Inverted Affinity, I'll show you kind of the locations of all these really good Pictos that are absolutely necessary for a high damage build at the tail end of this video. Inverted Affinity is definitely a must-have on top of Painted Power. You also need Glass Cannon. You'll deal 25% more damage, but you'll also take 25% more damage, which, as you'll see in a moment here, will be of no consequence at all because I am going to eliminate most enemies on the first turn, other than maybe some of the super bosses. Another nice one is Roulette. Every hit has a 50% chance to either deal 50% or 200% of its damage. Considering how many attacks you do on a turn with this build, you're going to want to have this on because at least 50% of your damage is going to do 200% of the damage, which definitely maths out as an advantage in your favor. You'll also want Tainted, which is a 15% increased damage for each status effect on yourself. We have Inverted Affinity, which applies inverted on yourself for 3 turns at the battle start and gives you 50% increased damage while inverted. So as you can see, I've already stacked a number of status effects, both positive and negative, but even the negative ones are helping us out here. And then, of course, Teamwork, 10% increased damage while all allies are alive. At the start of every battle, you're going to have a lot of allies alive. And then the last really big one here is Cheater. Always play twice in a row. So every single time you get a turn, you're going to get 2 turns in a row. And then, of course, if you've got Augmented Counter 2, it just gives you like 75% increased counter attack damage, which is huge damage if you're not taking out the enemy in the first turn. So let's take a look at where you can find some of these, and then I'll show you guys this build in action. Alright, so the first one I want to show you guys the location of on the world map is the Tainted Pictos. It's in Stonewave Cliffs. If you warp to the farm area and you'll find one of those paint spikes, you'll need to have found enough of the little gestural guys to be able to get the ability to kind of punch through those paint spikes. And once you punch through that paint spike, you walk through there and there'll be a boss fight. You defeat that boss and he will give you the Tainted Pictos, which is that one that stacks your damage based on how many status effects you have on. Stonewave Cliffs is kind of in the earlier part of the game. It's in Act 1. This is where you find Esquia's first stone, if I remember correctly. But this is the location on the map right here. If we zoom out, we zoom in, that is where it is. All right. And then the next very important location is the Crimson Forest. It's right next to the Endless Tower. You can't really miss it. It's floating in the air, so you'll need Esquia to be able to fly to access it. There is a bit of a puzzle here you have to solve. There are 3 different swords you have to kind of slowly pull out of the stone while navigating this place. Pull all 3 out, go back to kind of the main end location in this area, and you'll fight a boss. You defeat that boss, and you will get Verso's best sword. Now, as you can see, my attributes build here is I've got, trying to max out might now, but I've got 99 put into ability and 81 put into luck. Both of those are multipliers for this weapon, so that's going to increase the amount of damage output that I've got going on here. Once I hit level 99, won't be a problem. We'll be able to stack into might and add even more to that luck stat. Now, glass cannon can be purchased from the Sacred River. There is a gestural merchant at the Sacred River, and the Sacred River is just north of the kind of wintry area. I'll just zoom out here so you guys can see a little bit better. It's right in here. The inverted affinity picto can be purchased from Kasumi, who is one of the gestural merchants in the Forgotten Battlefield. So you'll remember passing through there on your journey to the monolith, but it is right here in case you've forgotten where it is. The next one I want to show you is kind of where to find the Confident Fighter Picto, and that is in Visages, and that is located right next to Renoir's Drafts. It is where you would have fought one of the Axons. It's right here. It's the one with all the faces and stuff on it. You'll find it next to a tree in the Joy Vale area, okay? So look for that when you're there. You might already have it if you're in the post-game, because you would have done the Axon battles and all that. But that is the location in case you missed it on the world map. And then the last really powerful Picto that you're going to want to grab is the Cheater Picto. That's that one that lets you go twice every time you get a turn. And that is obtained by beating one of the super bosses called Sprong. So Sprong is the guy that's walking in the water right around here, kind of next to the Crimson Forest, in between the Crimson Forest, the Blades Graveyard, kind of around the Endless Tower area. He'll be right around here. I'll zoom out, and he's kind of waist high in the water. He's a cool, really tall, giant-ass monster. So you want to beat him up probably once you have all those other Pictos and Lumina equipped. This will probably be the last one you want to grab, just so you have the advantage against him. So now let's see how much damage this actually does in battle. Alright, so you can see all my Lumina kicking in right at the start of battle there. And as you can see, I start with 8 ability points, which allows us to use Phantom Stars right at the top of the battle. I believe, like I said, this costs 9 if you're not S rank, but thanks to his Chivalum sword, I start every battle at S rank, which increases my damage output, as well as giving me the ability to use this at only 5 AP. So let's hammer this out. So we took out 1. There is a chance to take out all 3 in the first turn with this, but because we got that Cheater Lumina on, we get to go again immediately. And again, this only costs 5. I eliminated that 1 enemy, so I got some AP back. Let's go and finish the job against these creepy dudes. And that's that. We just took them out 2 turns, really only 1 turn because it was just Verso attacking twice on the first turn. And we did 5 million damage across the entire group very, very quickly. You also might notice my incredibly high amount of XP I got from this battle. Stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to be doing a guide on the best place to grind the full party. If you want to see this location, which is the best place to grind the entire party, be sure to like, subscribe, turn notifications to all. I'll be posting that tomorrow, so look forward to that one. If you want to see my Mael build, please leave a comment, let me know in the comments. I don't think it's like as spectacular as maybe some other people's, but I'll show you it anyways. Most of the Mael build is very similar to my Verso build, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped you guys out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.